Hello, and welcome back to Fire Essence Gaming. My name is Ben, and today we're going to continue on Suzerain. The last time out, we arrested Walter Tusk, and finally managed to get our constitution reforms passed. So, we're going to kind of just pick up here in the aftermath, and let's see what happens. Let's go and start with Earlery, why not? Invitation to the movie premiere, okay. I have been invited to an exclusive preview of Alfred Sherbrooke's new film, The Morning Shall Come. Although I was in much of a movie-going mood, it would have been unpresidential not to attend. With its massive budget and Sherbrooke's directorial cachet, this drama was set to be a milestone for Swordland's burgeoning film scene. Personally, though, I was just looking forward to spending some time with my family. It was a very hot and sunny day as Serge drove us to the old capital. The film was to be screened in the historic Cinéma Anglais de Earlery, the very first cinema in Swordland. I gazed at the vast plains between Holsword and Earlery as we drove on the H1. Serge maxed out the air conditioning to keep the Katia comfortable. Franck fidgeted with his tie as he stared out the window. What's wrong, Franck? Since when do you care about what's happening in my life? I mean, yeah, I've been busy lately, but I'll always have time for you. What an honor, Your Highness. Franck, don't talk to your father that way. He's been working so hard for this country. Okay. Don't make me angry, Franck. Franck turned his head away and to look outside the window. I turned to Diana. Excited for the movie? Diana nodded happily. What about you, Papa? You want something, right? You should smile and keep doing your best even if you lose. That's my girl. Thanks a lot. You've been awfully quiet, Monica. I just want to focus on having a nice time at the movies. Monica folded her arms. We drove on in silence. She's still pissed at me. Serge rolled down the soundproof glass between us. Sir, we are about to enter Earlery. We'll be at the cinema in a few minutes. Thank you, Serge. I took a brief look outside as Serge rolled the soundproof glass up again. I could see the many towers of Earlery rising over what was left of the old city walls. Serge knocked on the glass and gestured forwards. We were at the main square of Earlery, and the historic Cinéma Anglais, the Cinema of Angels, was right in front of us. Is this the place? Yeah. It was an old Baroque-style corner building with walls that looked like marble from a distance. There were exquisite ornaments on each side of every window. Serge pulled the car to the entrance to the building, which was lit by vivid neon stripes in many colors. On the wall next to the entrance, there were painted the words, Stop the Oppression of Blues. Come on, let's get out. Serge opened the doors, and we exited onto the red carpet. We were just about to enter the building when a journalist managed to block the path. Mr. President, the Constitutional reforms made it through the Assembly. How do you feel about the chances for the Supreme Court? I trust the justices will make the right decision. Thank you, Mr. President. Were you aware that Tarkin and Soll will be present at the proceedings? Of course I was. Before she could ask anything else, the guards ushered us inside the theater. Contrast with the cinema's Baroque-style exterior, the inside was modern and sleek, with bare walls painted in black, red, and white. The film's cast and crew were already in the foyer, with glasses of champagne in their hands. We approached the crowd and were welcomed by the producers and the event organizers. A man walked up to us with quick steps. Madam, Mr. President, it's so good to see you here. Gently bowed at Monica and shook our hands. It's an honor to meet you. I'm Alfred Sherbrooke. Nice to meet you, Mr. Sherbrooke. My producer told me you'd express admiration for my work. Franck snorted. I glanced at him and he innocently took a sip of his cola. It's very humbling to know that you've been watching and enjoying my movies. If you don't mind my asking, which one was your favorite? This one may be slightly different from my previous works. I mean, I have no idea. Just all of them. They're all my favorites, Mr. Sherbrooke. He laughed. You flatter me too much, Mr. President. I know myself, they aren't all winners. Come now, just pick one. Ah, crap. Alright, I can't imagine this is in my guide here. But let's take a look here. No, it's totally not. Okay. Yeah, I doubt this is important to anything either, so it's fine. I love The Swordish's Dream. Oh, really? Then you might enjoy this one, too. I'll admit, I didn't expect you to be such a cinephile. Oh, yay, picked the right movie. Frank looked me in the eye and struggled not to laugh. Why don't we take our seats? It's about to start. We entered the screening room, the lights dimmed, and the film began. It was a period drama set in the 1870s about a Scottish soldier who pursues a doomed romance with a widowed Bluish farmer during the conquest of Bergia. As the credits rolled, I made an early exit to use the men's room. I was washing my hands when I heard an unmistakable voice behind me. So, what did you think? Tarkin Soll leaned on his cane. He had the same frail appearance I had noticed at the assembly meeting. Yet up close, I could still sense the raw magnetism that had kept him in power for 20 years. I mean, I found the plot questionable, but it certainly looks spectacular. What about yourself? Sentiments of pablum for the enjoyment of housewives only, and for a period piece, the script contained far too many anachronisms. Totes my loads, my dude. That was stupid. Enough small talk. Why were you at the assembly vote? My country was about to make a rash decision. I couldn't simply sit by. I still have immense respect for you, Colonel. I wish it was reciprocated. It will be when you prove yourself worthy of it. Why do you want these reforms blocked so badly? I mean, I'm literally just expanding what you were doing. Unless you're just jealous. I will not have my parts in my constitution tarnished by a tyrant. You calling me a tyrant of all people? Ha! Some of his spittle landed in my cheek. If Solden remains in your hands, the only future I see is misery. I always look up to you. Just give me a chance to do my job. You have no idea what it takes to do this job, boy, but you'll find out soon enough. He slipped past me and out the door. Soul security staff and mine were now clustered outside the washroom, forming a buffer against the very large crowd that had gathered. That's Tarkin Soll, I heard someone scream. His guards closed around him and mine around me. By the time the chaos subsided, I was back in the car with my family, and Soll was long gone. What an old jackass. Alright, there's apparently 5 newspapers. Let's check those out here real quick. Alright, got 2 from the Old Sword Post. Rain and Soll meet at Cherbuck screening. Recent exclusive screening of Alfred Cherbuck's new film, The Morning Shall Come, was attended by an unexpected guest, former President Tarkin Soll, rarely seen outside of his home on Dour Island since his 1949 resignation. Current President Anton Rain was also in attendance, and the two men were seen together. And new law in the Swordfish language vetoed. The Unified Language Act has been vetoed by President Rain after the approval of the Grand National Assembly by a majority vote on Thursday following a 3-hour debate. Casaro Keebner, who campaigned heavily for the bill, criticized President Rain for his decision to veto the act, saying it contained much vital new rules that would have unified Swordfish education and protected the integrity of Swordfish language and identity. Alright, Lockhaven Times. 1 film, 2 very special guests. An exclusive screening of Alfred Cherbuck's new film, The Morning Shall Come, made a splash, but not for the content of the period drama itself. Instead, the film was overshadowed by the 2 political figures in attendance, President Anton Rain, who made the trip from Holsworth with his family, and former President Tarkin Soll, barely seen on the mainland since 1949. It is rumored the 2 of them spoke in the washroom following the film. That doesn't sound suspicious at all. Alright, got 2 more from the Radical. Washroom Summit. What are Rain and Soll hiding? At a screening of Alfred Cherbuck's overblown sob story, The Morning Shall Come, President Anton Rain and former President Tarkin Soll were seen exiting the men's room together. While an illicit assignation is not out of the question, it's far more likely the 2 inveterate politicians were making backroom deals about which the Swordfish public, as usual, will be kept in the dark. The Radical is committed to getting to the bottom of this meeting. We'll keep readers updated as facts emerge. And Rain vetoes racist language bill. It's the least he could have done. Anton Rain struck down a proposal from the NFP's Casaro Keebner that would have made Swordfish the only language allowed in this country's educational institutions, with rare individual exceptions to be granted by the Ministry of Education. Presented as a measure to promote integration and unity, the bill is a slap in the face to Swordland's British population and other non-Swordfish speakers, not to mention outright denial of the diversity that makes this country what it is. Keebner must not be happy about this, but we are. Nice, okay. So it looks like Whole Sword is all that's left here, so let's go. Let's start with the report first. Keebner congratulates vote results. In today's press statement, Xar Keeper of the NFP congratulated President Rain for his successful vote. In his speech, he showed support for the SP leadership and called the Supreme Court to vote in favor of the proposal. Nice. Alright. And Rumberg whistleblower arrives. Oh, I thought this was going to be slightly more than that. Okay. A whistleblower from the Rumberg Security Bureau has escaped to Sorlin by crossing the border and turned himself in to the authorities in Estor. Agent Chelston Hailstone has promised to reveal extremely sensitive information about the development of a weapons program. We can give refuge to him, risk antagonizing Rumberg, or send him back. Well, even if it weren't for the fact that he's the one who tells us about, their weapons program, then we definitely need the information on. Why wouldn't we antagonize Rumberg? Obviously going to grant this dude asylum. Alright, one newspaper. Geopolitical, Sorlin accepts whistleblower. Who is Chelston Hailstone, and what does he know? That's the question of the day, as President Rain has agreed to grant refuge to this rogue national security agent from Rumberg. After escaping the Sorlin, Hailstone promised to reveal sensitive government information in exchange for asylum. Whether Rain's decision will be worth the anger and possible retaliation from the Rumberg government remains to be seen. I think the bigger question is, how did the press find out about this? That seems like sensitive information. Alright, report from Antel, whistleblower, and safe house. After receiving Agent Chelston Hailstone, we have secretly transferred him to a safe house near Antel. The perimeter is guarded by Special Forces units to ensure no escape or rescue attempt be conducted by Rumberg intelligence. The agent is currently being interrogated thoroughly, to make sure that the preliminary information provided is accurate. Nice. Okay. Let's see. We got excavations, whole sword, and deer. Let's just stick to whole sword. All right. Dinner with the family at home. That sounds fun. I arrived home from work, hung my jacket up, and put my briefcase in the hall. I paused, awaiting my usual greeting from my wife and daughter. Tiana was out at one of her after-school art classes, I remembered, but where was Monica? From the living room, I heard a muffled sob. I entered to find Monica sitting on the sofa, a letter in her hands, a look of despair on her face. I sat down on the couch next to Monica. Monica briefly rested her head on my shoulder, then handed me the letter. It's from the Department of Education. Frank's university exam results are in. He failed, didn't he? Just read the letter. I looked at the page. Below Frank's name and address, the score is written. 435 out of a total of 1,000. That's stupid. At the bottom of the letter, the word failed was stamped in red. All those years of effort, all those prep lessons, all down the drain. Maybe it'll be good for him to learn from his mistakes. This isn't just about Frank, you know. Him failing will reflect badly on you, on us. I just don't understand. Frank's a smart boy. Why would he sabotage himself like this? I heard a key turning in the front door. Frank stomped in and was about to go straight upstairs when he noticed us both in the living room. Mom, Dad, what's going on? Have a seat, Frank. He took a seat across from us, and I handed him the letter. He started reading it. Ah, shit. That's all you have to say? I need a moment. He went to the kitchen sink and washed his face. A moment later, he came back. I never thought this would happen. I'm so sorry. Dude, you made your mother cry. I know. I can't do anything right. Frank looked close to tears. Monica put her hand on his shoulder. It's gonna be okay. You really should have studied harder, Frank. I know. So, what am I supposed to do now? I have a feeling we should probably send him to military school. Let me see if the guide mentions anything. So I know last time we got him into Whole Sword State, but that was probably not the smartest idea. Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything in here. What? Let's just try it. Well, there's always military school, but you're the president, son. You still have options. Yes. Monica surprised me with her enthusiasm. If Alfonso could get his dimwit son into Kings Hill University, I'm sure Wholesale State would have room for a bright boy like Frank. Yeah, I'm not going to take life lessons from Evald Alfonso. Wholesale State would be amazing. A bunch of my friends are going there. I can still come home and do my laundry. No, I won't influence your life. You've got to live with what you've done. I understand principle is important, but Anton, which is more important, your principles or your son's future? Okay, this is a toughie. Of course, then again, with the secret police, we'll be clamping down on any sort of corruption, so it should be fine. So we'll go with my son's future, of course. And I believe you'll make the right choice. Alright, fine. Let me think about this. Thank you, Anton. I mean, there's whole sort of state, or you could study abroad. United People's University in United Canton is free. It also has an excellent medical program. Communism, I can take that. Not exactly how I was expecting to spend my student years, but anything's better than the military. And this is the future of our boy, Anton. What should we do? I mean, honestly, setting him to a communist state for school is probably not the best idea. We're trying to form a, fascist dictatorship, so I guess let's just keep him here. Whole sort of university is the right decision after all. Thanks so much, Dad. I swear it won't let you down this time. Monica let out a long exhale. What a day. Who's hungry for dinner? Monica disappeared to the kitchen, Frank to his room. I went to my office and began making some phone calls. Alright, well, hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us, but that's right, we're going for it. Alright, we got 3 newspapers here. The Whole Sword Post, Court strikes down Urson v. Swordland. Chief Justice Hawker of the Supreme Court made an announcement after the majority of the justices voted against the violation of constitutional rights for British citizens as proposed by Urson. The landmark case, which was politically charged with the support of WPB and even PFJP establishment, caused major disagreement between the Ministry of Justice and the Supreme Court. Criticisms were handed over to the Minister of Justice, Nia Morgan, who filed a concurrence. Chief Justice Hawker highlighted the importance of impartial justice once again. Alright, Lockhaven Times, Ashraf Anniversary. Tony Ashraf, hero to some, enemy to others. He is for sure one of the most controversial figures to have ever lived in our country. As his anniversary is approaching, there's one question that's shared in everyone's minds. What will the administration do? Every year, people gather at Urson and hold a vigil in the solemn anniversary of his death. They light their candles in his memory and hold cultural festivals. What's different this year, however, are the claims that the British movement will be holding their largest rally yet in Urson during the anniversary. Perhaps it's time for the administration to let bygones be bygones, take a step back to display the unity of Swordland to the people who very much need it. And from the Radical, justice failed once again. As expected, the Supreme Court ruled against the Urson v. Swordland case. The massive rights case has struck down any future precedent for an argument to be made against the constitutional rights violation of individuals through legislative action. Chief Justice Hawker argued that legislative actions, constitutional acts, are not to be confused and that the British people are equal under the law. The Sollist constitutionalist justices are going as far as they can to bend the truth to hide the inequalities of our society. The fight for justice will continue. Nice. Okay. Alright, what do we got going in Deer? Alright, Day of Descension Ceremony, or briefing on diplomatic strategy. Alright, well, let's just stick with Whole Sword, why not? Got a report on the Supreme Court case. The Supreme Court has filed a 6-5 dissent and closed the Urson v. Swordland case today. Chief Justice Hawker dismissed the concurrence of the Ministry of Justice, citing that the treatment of British people has been equal before the law. Further press releases were made criticizing the words of the Vice Minister of Justice. British constitutional rights won't be in question for some time. Alright, so yeah, briefing on diplomatic strategy. The doors to the White Room, like everything else in the Maroon Palace's main nerve center, were painted white. I took a deep breath before pushing them open. Time for yet another meeting. At least this time is with people who liked me. Well, supposedly. We'll see. I don't think anybody will truly like you when you're the president. The attendees rose up from their seats. Mr. President. Yosef nodded. He and Lucien sat down, while Dave remained standing. Right, there's also the fact that Lucien totally betrayed us in the last playthrough. So I still don't fully trust this guy. We'll see what happens here. Yeah, now that you're here, let's talk about our diplomatic strategy. David cleared his throat. Mr. President, if I may, I'd like to provide you with a short overview of where we're at right now. Yeah, go ahead. We have successfully passed trade deals with both Valen and Agnolia, which means we've increased our presence in those regions. These deals were important pieces of leverage and significant first steps into the global arena. We must now look towards the future. Go on. David sat down, pulling out a few papers, and started going through them as he kept talking. Vale and Agnolia were practice runs. We must begin improving our relationship with greater nations. We need to elevate our international standing, especially with the threat of lumber looming. Yosef cleared his throat.
Extra wise investment. Sordon's army is on its way to becoming a force to be reckoned with. Whether it be Rumberg or anyone else, we can handle outside threats just fine. We don't need to beg for help from anyone.
But being friendly won't hurt, right?
I agree. There's nothing to be lost by making alliances.
Military perspective is important, but these deals are about more than just getting allies. We also need to consider the benefits to our economy such deals provide.
Especially when we are still struggling to end the recession.
David took a seat and brought out 2 stacks of documents. Yeah, it's a term. I had a comprehensive trade deal plan laid out. Following the visits to Vale and Agnolia, we would pursue potential trade deals with Lesbia and Foxland. Unfortunately, due to certain events that have since occurred, this course of action is no longer possible. I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but what events exactly? Well, in Foxland's case, their intentions in Helluland have been clear for many years. The Agnolia regarding the island did not sit well with them.
That's an understatement. The Alliance of Nations spent years debating the status of Helluland. Becoming one of the first world leaders to recognize the island as Agnolia was quite the statement.
The Alliance of Agnolia itself was also a slap in the face where Foxland was concerned.
Those colonies won't be able to invade Agnolia without facing the might of Soll's armed forces. It will make them think twice.
I mean, true, but as a result, we won't be able to conduct a trade deal, let alone proceed with any diplomatic missions. Unfortunate, so much needless dispute over such a small island. I'm afraid it might get much worse in the future. As we stand right now, any kind of deal with Foxland is simply out of the question. Moving on to Lesbia. Our southern neighbor is rather sore over our decision to accept financial aid from United Cantana, allowing ships to dock at a naval base in return. Granting those docking rights essentially gave United Cantana a foothold in eastern Mercopa. It's no wonder ATO felt threatened by this move. In any case, the deal won't be happening with Lesbia, that's for sure. Good, we'll never make a deal with country in the ATO. As you wish. In light of all this, I'll begin researching other potential trading partners. That'll be it for today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yosef saluted as he left the White Room. Okay, cool. That's fine. The guide says not to enter a trade deal with Lesbia anyway, so... yeah, whatever. That's fine. Alright, let's look at the report here. Currency loses value against Arcasian Lira. Financial reports show that the Soros Ren has steadily been slipping against the Arcasian Lira, though the exchange rate has not yet approached the all-time low reached in the Alfonso administration. Cool. Alright, from Gelsword, recession hits workers. As in the rest of Swordland, workers in Gelsword are bearing the brunt of the recession. The manufacturing sector has been hit particularly hard, as a record number of factory workers filed for unemployment over the past month. Alright, and from Lockhaven, Port of Lockhaven gains new importance. Following the completion of the L1 high-speed railway between Holzor and Lockhaven, the Port of Lockhaven has been experiencing higher traffic than ever. An increasing number of businesses are now choosing to ship their goods by boat as a result of a more efficient transit process. Cool. And Sarna increases agricultural production. Sarna has experienced a 15% increase in agricultural output over the last 2 years. Employment in the agricultural sector has been rising commensurately. The boom is thought to be a direct result of the investments made in the Berger region. Awesome. Another report up here. Healthcare quality improved. Reports from hospitals and clinics in Laren indicate a significant rise in the quality of healthcare since additional funding was channeled into rural areas. Mortality rates appear to be decreasing, while patients are reporting a higher level of trust in physicians and medical facilities. Perfect. Alright, so we got 2 newspapers, then we'll head to the Descension Festival. Alright, from Whole Sword Post, isolated polio cases seen in Berja. Several villages in Berja have been safely placed under quarantine after a few polio cases were diagnosed in the region. The outbreak is largely confined to Valen, and there's little chance of further infections occurring in Swordland. Even if there was, the disease's most notorious symptom, paralysis, is only seen in a minute percentage of cases, and there is no need to alter the Sword's way of life, as Health Minister Pascal Bennywall suggested his vaccination program in order to prevent its spread. And Lockhaven Times, polio cases explode in Berja. Concerning news from Bercha, several cases of polio have recently been diagnosed in the region. The outbreak, thought to have originated across the border in Valen, is currently confined to just a few villages, which are now under strict quarantine. However, Health Minister Pascal Benoit has called for swift action, including countrywide vaccination, to prevent the case numbers from multiplying. We concur that this disease, which is known to cause paralysis in severe cases, is a serious threat and must be contained at all costs. Nice. Alright. So yeah, looks like oh, never mind, there's a couple reports in Deer too. Alright, let's start with the Valen trade report. Trade deal struck with Valen continues to bear fruit as Burgess sees an upward trend in agricultural exports. Manufacturing industries are also celebrating the decreased production costs that have resulted from the uptick in importation of basic oil in the aftermath of Operation Bear Trap. Julio. And homelessness among Bludish decreases. Deer is reporting a 20% decrease in homelessness amongst Bludish population over the past 2 years, a development welcomed by Bludish rights activists. The decrease corresponds with the rise in wages and employment in the city following the government decision to invest in the Berger region. Awesome. Okay. Alright, well, now let's head to the Descension Festival. Alright, morning haze surrounding the city of Deer as the sun dawned on the day of Descension, the holiest day of the nerdy religion, to celebrate the first message received by God, or from God, by St. Dast and his 30 disciples. As per tradition, the celebration was held inside the Arch Sanctuary of Destrunity, closed to the public eye. This year, however, for the first time ever, it was going to be televised. This was Lucien's idea. As he saw it, granting the people a rare glimpse of the grand ceremony, showing them how seriously their president took this holy event would ease any tensions that lingered in the region. And so we arrived at the largest cathedral in Sortland. A huge crowd gathered around our convoys. Our car pulled up to the entrance.
This will work out well, trust me, sir. Of course, it's only if the prayer is done completely correctly. Please don't forget the order. First, you'll need to grasp the holy scepter with your left hand, and then touch the altar with your right. Kneel before the archpriest and wait for him to put the sword on your shoulder. Then touch the sword with the hand you touch the altar with. Hand the scepter over to the archpriest to receive the sword before passing it over to the disciple. Pretty straightforward, isn't it?
I mean, no, it's complicated and stupid, but okay. Yeah, sure.
Very good. You'll have to go first. I'll come inside later. We'll meet up with after your part is done. Good luck, sir.
I exited the car, and I was greeted by a chorus of cheers and camera flashes. I waved to the people as I made my way to the grand gates. The Arch Sanctuary was a sight to see. Its towering visage casts a shadow over a large portion of the city. I had to crane my neck to see the narrow spires at the top. Just standing next to it made me feel awe and dread in equal measure. As I reached the gates, I spotted my welcoming committee. The archpriest and his disciples were waiting for my arrival. At my approach, they all bowed their heads in respect. The archpriest gave me an infectious smile as he straightened back up. Tall and handsome in his mid-50s, he is one of the youngest and most popular archpriests in history. Some of his more avid followers even liken him to St. Dast. Yeah, Mr. President, praise God. It is a blessing to see you on our most holy day. Welcome, welcome. Fancy robe guy? The crowd was still cheering loudly. The archpriest turned and raised both of his hands, and everyone immediately fell silent. Oh, great people of Solden, once again we are gathered here to honor the day of Descension. I am indescribably happy to be sharing this moment with you, as well as every blood and sword, old and young, tuning into the television to watch this holy commemoration. Along with the leader of our great nation, I say, let the holy day begin. Stay far from evil, O sons and daughters, for evil hides itself under many disguises. Disguises such as blasphemy, apostasy, and even alcohol. Be good, my children. Praise God. Praise Sorlin. What a creep. He smiled beatifully as the crowd burst into rapturous applause. After it subsided, he turned to me. Shall we move inside for your confession? Let me see if there's anything in here about that. In the guide, that is, obviously. Cool. Alright, I don't necessarily see anything in here, but I assume I should probably at least attempt to do this right to keep the people happy. So, I mean, let's go for photo first. I pulled the archpriest aside for a photo. Many flashbulbs burned my eyes at the same time. I heard whistles, claps, and cheers from the crowd. Most excellent. He led me through the main hall, which had a stratospheric ceiling and nurse icons lining the walls. We walked up a creaking spiral staircase to the top floor and finally arrived in front of the confession chamber. Right this way. He gestured towards a chair in the dark room. The room smelled of old mahogany and scented candles. The archpriest proceeded to light each and every one of the candles, one for each virtue and vice. I'll be right with you. He left the room. A minute later, I heard the sound of a sliding window right next to me. He spoke with a very soft voice. Anton, speak. Speak and confess now before the one God, and may he repent your sins on the most holy day of descension. I mean, yeah, I'm totally gonna confess to this crap. Because you know this guy's a creeper, and he's probably going to reveal our secrets if we say anything. And just look at that face. Alright, let's go with the pious answer. I confess I'm not sure what I'm doing for Swordland is enough. You do carry a heavy burden on your shoulders. What you have confessed is not a sin, but you may share your burden with me if you like. Yeah, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I'm not going to tell you anything, bro. Absolute certainty only belongs to God. All else fears uncertainty. Okay, that's weird. Whatever. All else fears uncertainty many times in their lives. This is especially true for men of power. Anything else you would like to confess? Hell no. That's all for today. Before God, I thank you for sharing. Unfortunately, it wasn't good, but that's all right. You are now forgiven before God, Anton. May you never sin again. The sliding windows closed. The archpriest entered the confession chamber. For the confession to end, you must extinguish the candles, representing each one of your virtues and vices. With this, the once burning sins connected to you are now smoke and then nothing. Alright, that's some weird nonsense, but okay. One by one, I extinguished the candles. Well done, Mr. President. Let's move on to my quarters before the ceremony. Alright, this guy's just getting creepier and creepier. He led me through the 1,000-year-old corridors to his office. The smell of dust and old tomes is in the air, along with the scent of burning incense being prepared for the ceremony. Well then, please have a seat. The wooden chair next to him looked like it might turn to dust at a single touch. I sat down gingerly. It was surprisingly sturdy. Are you ready for the ceremony? Yeah, let's just get this shit over with. Patience is a virtue, Mr. President. He leaned back in his chair comfortably. I wanted to give you something, a gift to celebrate this special day. This dude just keeps getting creepier. He pulled out a large rectangular box from his desk drawer. The box was lined with gold and expensive gemstones. A beautiful sight, isn't it? He opened the box and showed me what was inside. It was a dagger. The handle looked like it was made of pure gold and had a very large gem at the end. On the blade, the words were inscribed, Vector and Sista, victory is close. On the other side, another set of words, King Egmont. This dagger belongs to King Egmont. It is a very important artifact of the Kingdom of Soll and Dara. It is now yours, Mr. President. Alright, I don't know why you're just giving me a knife, but sure, bro, thanks. Think of the past and think of who we are. Traditions are what brought us to this point. Now then, it should be right about time. A couple of knocks were heard on the door, and a young boy came in. He bowed before the archpriest, then me, before letting us know the ceremony was about to begin. We made our way downstairs, where the ceremony was already in progress. The choir sang angelically as the archpriest took his position beside the altar. When they finished their hymn, an expectant silence fell over the room. It was time for my part. I started my walk, bowed, and approached the altar. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I totally wrote this down real quick so I don't forget what I'm supposed to be doing. So I need to grasp the holy scepter with my left hand and touch the altar with my right. So let's do that. Grab the scepter with my left hand and touch the altar with my right. Okay, and then we kneel in front of this creeper. Scepter in hand, I knelt before the archpriest. The archpriest laid the sword on my shoulder. Okay, and then we touch the sword with the altar. You touch. Okay, so with our right hand, touch the sword with my right hand, and then we hand the scepter to the disciples. Right. No. Hand the scepter over to Archpriest. I handed the scepter to the Archpriest and waited for him to give me the sword. The Archpriest handed me the sword. Then we passed that off to the disciples. I got up and proceeded to my designated spot next to Lucian. He leaned over and whispered in my ear.
Compared to last year, they went surprisingly well, sir.
My eyes met the Archpriest, and he very slightly nodded. The ceremony went on for another hour and a half. Holy crap. Finally, the noon bells chimed, marking the end of the cathedral service. I stepped outside. I heard everyone cheering and chanting my name. Lucian's gambit seemed to have been a success. We waved proudly for a minute or two.
See, sir, I told you it'd work.
We entered our cars and drove back to our suites in Deer. Cool, that was only totally stupid. But that's alright. It's as good a place as any to call for today. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.